As advertised, we have the legendary Walt Clyde Frazier here. The Knicks have been playing much better, so the city is very much excited about everything. And Walt, welcome. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving. How's things going?
Great, man. You're right. With the city, it's a buzz. Everybody's talking about the Knicks.
You know, watching the games, and I have been a lot of them. I haven't been to one yet this year, but watching some of them on TV, you can see the intensity in the building. I've never lost it. Anytime the Knicks played well, their fan base has been there. It's responded, which has been one of the amazing things. Through all these bad years, that fan base has been very loyal, and they go to the games and they get loud when the team plays well.
Yeah, but they've been sold out, but now they're provocative.
Yes,
I mean from the get-go, oohs and ahs. They're in it from the beginning. So I enjoy going to the games. Now, last year was drudgery.
Yes.
It's hard to get up, the same old, but this year I'm very optimistic they should be a playoff team.
All right, what about from what you see right now? Tell me what you like, what you see that you notice about the young club. But what do you like, what you see right now?
Well, I'll start with the coach. The coach is holding them accountable, especially on defense. Last year the triangle was a problem. I think he was subservient to Phil. Now he's running his own, implementing his own offense, letting the guys run. Hardaway is thriving. KP's thriving. Lee. So all these guys are having career years because of that. And what I'm talking about with KP, right? He's been the catalyst.
Oh, he's been wonderful. He really has. How about the young point guard? What have you seen that you like or don't like?
Ntilikina, he's turnovers right now. He take it and he give it. He's got the steals, but he's making the turnovers, so that's to be expected. A young guy, a lot of pressure on him right now to excel. So
now you would be the perfect person to ask about his development. Do you see things in him that you can see coming together? Recognition, ability to handle things on the court. Do you see that getting better?
Yeah, every game I see something different. When I first watched him, his shooting was lacking confidence. So he started to shoot better. Then he didn't penetrate. Now he started to penetrate. So every game I see, he's added something to his repertoire.
Quick hands. Quick hands.
Yeah, and long arms.
Yeah, long arms, quick hands. Yes.
Right.
Has the makings of a defensive player, no question.
Ironically, it's like me when I came into the league.
A little bit. I don't want to put him in your – he's not you, okay? And that's something when the people listen to you do the games and you've been there for so long now, I don't think they realize, some of the younger people, and I don't say this to obviously embarrass you, they don't realize how good you were. I mean, you were a great player. They don't realize the player you were. I mean, you were a brilliant NBA player.
Yeah, thanks. But like you with the longevity, right? I hear them sometimes the kids go, "Hey, Dad, there's the Knick announcer."
That's right. And Dad says, "You don't remember when he was here, and what you did." And the game is so different now. Did you ever think in your life that you'd ever see the game as reliant on a three-point shot as it has become in every way that they deal with it? It has become the focal point of the whole sport.
Right, and it's taking the big man out of the game. You never thought the big guy. You always needed a superstar guard and big guy to win championships. So if you look, that's what it was, and now those guys can barely get in the game because of the three ball.
Porzingis has been terrific. What I always think about, I thought Porzingis would be a really big scorer because I said he should get an easy base 20 because he should get 8 or 9 foul shots every night. I mean, that should be the first thing. He makes his shots too. He can make his free throws. He's a good shooter. With that size and the way he can finish around the basket, these should be easy baskets for him. They really should.
Stamina has been his problem. Strength. So he's shown that early on in the season. Now he's adding a post-up game. I mean, anybody that guards him is a mismatch.
It is. And, Howard knocked him around that night pretty good. He really was the first one you saw really get rough with him. He's got to realize that's going to happen this year. More and more, the better he gets, people are going to rough him up a little bit.
Yeah. Griffin, the last game.
Yeah, the other game, same thing.
Did a good game. But KP's developed the poise. Now he knows what he has to do, not relying on the three ball. His defense. Very underrated.
It is. It's good. It's pretty good. It really is. And great. Really, he doesn't have the the problems that normal guys his size has. He has almost an athleticism and a quickness that belies him being as tall as he is. He actually plays like a smaller man.
Amazing grace.
It is like Olajuwon did. Played like a guard. He plays sometimes with a quickness that almost belies the fact that he's whatever he is, 7'4", 7'3", whatever he is. It's unusual to see a guy move like that.
And the crowd loves it. That's why he's the crowd favorite. When he gets into this act crossing over, they really enjoy it. And a lethal shooter, man. Like you say, he's averaging about 6 free throws a game now from the line, 88%.
Got to get it up a little more because he makes his free throws. He does make them. Yeah,
he's an uncanny shooter. He's very accurate.
I was fascinated by that Cleveland game because LeBron went after the rookie early. Canna backed it up. And then they had to withstand what you knew was going to come in the fourth quarter, And LeBron almost made it interesting because he missed those 2 free throws at the end of the game, which you kind of said he was going to have trouble with. Went to the line, you said, watch these. He doesn't make these at the end of the game all the time. He missed both those free throws. They had a couple more seconds. It would have been interesting.
Yeah, they added a little drama, man. I never saw that coming. I never thought they would come back and win the game, but it's a learning process. That's why this team is young, and they let that one get away from them. But I think they learned from it. One thing they should have learned, hey, man, we can compete against anybody.
You're seeing that. You can almost see them growing a little bit around him. Because I wondered whether, when it was his team, whether he'd step right up. He clearly wants it to be his team. You can see that. He really wants the guys to rally around him. He'll take the big shot. He wants to make the plays. You can see he wants to be the guy. He's willing to accept that mantle. You can see that.
I wasn't sure. I was ambivalent, and because he's such a nice guy,
right?
He's not a selfish guy. He doesn't look for points.
Right.
So, but I've been surprised the way he's taking that role.
He really not afraid. He wants the big shot. Take the ball, end of the game to the basket. And that's why when I saw the rookie make the one night he made it against Indiana, he made the 3 on the wing. It was the big shot. I said, nice to see him step into that shot, and he was pretty. He didn't back off it. He stroked it pretty well, and he didn't act crazy when he made it. So it was almost like, I know I can make this shot. So he's got a little confidence, the point guard.
Yeah, and you know why it was a big shot? Because he missed a shot before that, and he had a key turnover.
Yep.
And now he gets a chance for the 3 ball. He didn't hesitate. And I like KP trusting him. When he got doubled, didn't hesitate to get the ball to him. So that was very impressive.
What has to happen? We're talking with Walt Clyde Frazier. Of course, you see him on the Knicks games all the time. Knicks play Toronto tonight. Toronto gave him a pretty good going over a couple of days ago up in Toronto, which is not a surprise. The issue for them is if they play a good team like a Toronto, if he doesn't get off quick, this team's going to struggle for that next scorer. Do you see somebody there that could pick it up, or do they still have to find the guy who can be that big complimentary scorer to him?
Well, Hardaway's the guy now. If KP doesn't do it, it's Hardaway, but obviously they need another scorer.
Clearly.
Yeah, a guy that can come in and put up points. Cantor has been a big surprise.
He's played well.
McDermott has been a big surprise.
McDermott does some good things. He can make a shot, and now you're seeing him move without the ball more. Little backdoor cut here, move without the ball here. So he looks like he's in better shape, first of all, but he's starting to really be a factor, McDermott.
Not only that, like I say, the coaches held them accountable for defense.
Right.
Cantor and McDermott,
Which
so that's
good.
why they're getting more playing time, and they're hustling on the defense.
And McDermott can shoot it.
Oh, lethal. He's like Carver.
He is like Carver. And those guys will make that catch. And as a guy who, you had guys, I've tried to tell people, like Kazi, when he came in, if he made that first one, you were going to give him the ball 6 straight times because he was going to make every one of them, right? If he hit that first corner jumper, he was going to hit 6 or 7 in a row.
Jazzy Kazi.
So you
Lucas,
can,
remember we had Luke? So.
What an amazing shot. But all those guys on that team, you had so many guys who had great depth on their shot. Bradley did, DeBusschere did, Lucas did. Guys could shoot it from anywhere. I mean, those would have been 3-point shoots, goals with those guys. That's how far they were shooting the ball.
Well, we talked about the 3 ball. You know what's amazed me? That these guys shoot the 3 better than the 2. Guys who weren't even efficient with the 2 ball now, 3 ball. Look at Griffith.
Yep.
He's added that to his repertoire. A lot of the big guys, Cousin, all of these big guys have really become very efficient three-point shooters.
Amazing three-point shooters. And there's not ever since Curry, there doesn't seem to be a bad shot anymore. They don't consider anything a bad shot. It doesn't matter. Some of these shots they're from 30 feet. In the old days, that was a bad shot. There's no bad shots anymore.
I know. The confidence level is off the chart. So, and the coaches don't say anything.
No.
They give them the green light to put him up.
It really has changed things. And you have teams now that say, oh, you don't want an offensive rebound. You want to get back on defense. Let them have the ball because you don't want to give up any threes. So don't worry about getting that offensive rebound. I mean, that's so, different than anything you've thought of in your life, not going to the glass and getting the offensive rebound.
That's the pressure it puts on you, the three ball. It puts that kind of pressure. You've got to have a good three-point shooter now. You can't make twos and they come down and make threes. You can't compete.
That mid-range game isn't there anymore. The game that even Jordan perfected, or yourself. I mean, you guys would take it in, back a guy in, make that 12-footer, 15-footer. You guys lived on those jump shots.
These teams would live with that now. Taking twos while they'll keep chucking the threes, right?
They love it. And those days, I mean, that's how even Jordan, go back to his game. I mean, what was he shooting? 17, 18-foot jump shots? I mean, that was his game.
Right. That's what catapulted him down the stretch. He would just post inside.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when you would do it. I remember, you or Chenier or any of those guys. I mean, you would come down, you'd give that guy, a little bit of your back turn and make that jump shot all night.
Yeah, Earl, Oscar, Wes.
All you guys. I mean, you live on those shots.
Yep, yeah. So it's amazing that look at Houston now. If they ever win a championship doing that, it's over, Mike.
It's a different game.
That's right.
It is a completely different game than you used to playing. It's like defense isn't an issue. I'm going to score more threes efficiently than you are.
That's it. And you know it, so try to stop it.
It is I was watching Cleveland the other night. They must have made 15 threes in the first half of that Detroit game. Detroit, they shot them right out of the building. They were like 12 for 15. What are you going to do? Team's 12 for 15 from three, the game's over.
Yeah, you can't compete, man. You're down by 10, you're down by 12. It's a constant battle to try to catch up.
So do you think, you said this team, playoffs, do you think this team this year can keep this up, keep their head above water, and maybe fight for a playoff spot?
Last year we were 14-10. And then.
Right. And then the roof fell in.
Right. So this year I'm believing in this team, though. I think they're going to get better. We mentioned Ntilikina, where they're young, McDermott, right. Cantor. They're all coming in, Hardaway, even KP. They're still learning, so they should only get better as the season progresses. What they can't afford to have is an injury. A key injury to one of their players.
Can you keep a big man healthy? Do you think you have to watch his minutes? Do you have to be very conscious of him because of his size and the fact that it makes him more susceptible to the injuries?
Yeah, they definitely got to monitor his minutes, and they found it out. One game, they were trying to let him get a career-high 40 points. They should have taken him out.
Right.
The Knicks were winning the game. There was no reason to keep him out there, so they have to conserve his energy. Maybe I have to get him over to Clyde's Wine and Dine, give him some steak and potatoes.
How's the restaurant doing?
It's doing great. I can't believe it's 5 years already.
It's unbelievable, huh?
Yeah. That area, is booming now.
This whole, this whole area from here all the way down is just unbelievable. It's just, this whole area here has grown unbelievably. So that whole area there is doing great, right?
Well, and still Hudson Yards hasn't opened yet.
That's unbelievable.
That's going to be the big thing over there. So there's a lot of foot traffic now, and people enjoying that area. So the fans have been very supportive, the Knicks, so we've been having a good time.
Good. So it's going well. Are you surprised by this team? What did you think when the guys left? What did you think when Carmelo left? Did you think this is going to be a step backwards, or did you think this team could do this? I have to admit, I'm surprised they've been this good this year.
Yeah, I wasn't happy when Melo left. I thought they should have kept him, but I also thought he should have tried to be more of a team player.
Right.
I always told him he should have been a 20-10-5 guy.
Right.
But he wanted the 28, 29 points, not the rebounds, not getting guys involved. So I think this team can keep it up. Thomas coming off the bench, he's bringing some defense. So the coach has two teams. He has an offensive team,
yep,
and he has a defensive team that he can put in there down the stretch. So.
And he's had Lance out there playing in the fourth quarter because of his defense. He's been out there. You know what they have finally? They got some guys who are playing roles. You got to have guys who are role players on teams. And you're seeing that with a Thomas. He's not going to score a whole lot, but he's going to play good defense. He's going to make a smart play. And there's a guy that he can play down the stretch now.
Yeah, Ntilikina. So
yep,
he has him in there. And then for offense, they bring in McDermott, Cantor. They've got O'Quinn. come in with some hustle and muscle out there. So there's a lot of versatility on this team.
One more guy who can shoot on the wing would be nice. One more guy who could bury a shot, a 2-guard or a 3, whatever he plays, whether he plays 2 or 3, whatever. I always think about your guys in the backcourt. I say, you don't need numbers. I mean, you and Earl played in the backcourt. You both could play anywhere. You both could do anything. So, I mean, you don't need 1s and 2s. You just need basketball players. And just a guy who could shoot on the wing would be nice, whether he's 6'7" or 6'4". I don't care. That'd be a welcome addition. Just somebody who could knock down a shot on the wing would be a really nice compliment to Porzingis.
Yeah, see, and that's what the league has come to now. They play basketball. Everybody's running that motion offense. They switch. They don't care about mismatches, the different sizes. So everybody wants to run and get out quickly, shoot the 3.
Is it, from your standpoint, do you think it's harder to play defense the way the offenses play with the 3 now? Do you think it makes it harder to play team defense, or is it still just the same basics as in the old days of playing team defense?
Yeah, it's more difficult. It's more because you got to get out quicker.
A lot of closeouts.
A lot of closeout, and the mismatches. The big guys are going to be a step slow, and they've got a shot off already.
Yeah, so that's the key. You got to get out and make these closeouts really quick on these guys, right? And these guys can shoot it when you run at them and run at their legs. They're still able to get these shots up. A guy like Korver can shoot with guys all over him.
Barely touching the ball. He's like Curry, man. They barely touch it. They're not squared up to the hoop. They make that look easy. I can't even shoot those 3s without getting momentum. And these guys are standing there with their back. They make it look so easy.
They do. I mean, Curry has changed the game more than anybody because at that size, as unexpected a star as he became, his ability, the range he has on the jump shot is unbelievable. He doesn't lose his form. He doesn't lose the arc. Everything's perfect no matter how far out he is to shoot the ball. It's perfect form every time.
See, and he just wears you down. Because you're pressing him, and then you start backing off, right? Yeah. You start backing off, and that's when he kills you.
And his ball handling is unbelievable. He is a beautiful ball handler. He doesn't play a lick of defense. I mean, he doesn't even. Right. I mean, that's him. He doesn't even. But his ball handling is amazing.
Yeah. He's really worked on his game. But just think, he could not play in our era.
No way.
The physicality that we brought.
What would he do against
KP
Oscar?
Would have trouble.
What would he do against Oscar?
Right.
What would he do against you?
Yeah, you guys mauling him, man.
Yeah, killing him.
It's a different game now where you can't touch them. So he's run amok, man. You can't. You got to chase him all over the court wherever he is.
I mean, think about how many times you would post up a guard. Right? How many times you would take a guy and post him up, and your forwards go outside and let you go inside and post people up? Or Oscar. How many times did Oscar take guys to the basket and just back them in and score over them, right? All the time.
Yeah, we always look for the mismatches. Now guys rarely do that. You never see guys backing in. You don't have to today. You can stand 15 feet away and face the basket and shoot.
How would Walt Frazier have played? I know you could play in any era. How would Walt Frazier have played in this era? How would your game have changed in this era? What would you have wanted to do with your game in this era of basketball?
I think my game would probably be the same. I could shoot the 3s from the corner. I probably would have augmented my game with that, but I think today I would have really averaged a triple-double. 15, 10, and 10, 16, somewhere around there. And my thing with defense is, like, if I'm guarding Curry, I don't want anybody else on him.
So you don't want help.
Right. I don't want to switch because now he gets hot, then I got hell on my hands to try to stop him.
You don't want to switch everything.
Right. Like with Earl, right. I don't want anybody else switching on Earl. I'm staying on him. Plus, if Willis Reed has to guard Earl, he's going to reprimand, hey, Clyde, get your man. That's not my man. How did you want to play pick and roll? I mean, you see so many guys coach how many different ways they want to defend pick and roll. How did you want to play pick and roll? We got over the top.
You always going over the top?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the guy giving us help. Even like we always chase guys baseline. We look for help along the baseline, not allowing them to
push
get
him into the shot
paint.
blocker.
Right.
Yeah, that was the way you always taught, right? To push him into to get him to go baseline and push him into the big man.
Yeah, but see now guys, they don't seem to have a rule. One time they do it over the top, then they go behind, and then the guys make you pay. Every time you start going behind the screen, they take the shot.
They do. It's unbelievable. I mean, think about how many times teams get guys into mismatches off these pick and rolls all the time. I mean, that's what they live for, is to get people into these pick and roll mismatches all the time.
Remember the big shot LeBron hit?
Yeah.
That's what he was waiting for.
Absolutely. That's all they're doing, is trying to see which guy's going to move. which guy's going to pick up. They're going to make their move off these pick and rolls. They run it. I mean, it's all they're looking for.
Yeah, Harden, Westbrook, James, all the prolific scorers. Durant. That's what they want. That mismatch.
But you're saying if you were playing one of these big scorers, what you want to do is say, get away and let me play him. That's it. I'm going to play him myself.
I'm not switching.
That's it.
Especially down the stretch with the last shot, the game on the line. You shouldn't switch.
Well, I think the Knicks, they had to rethink what they were doing with LeBron the other night. LeBron's playing with 4-3 shooters, and we're talking about Walt Frazier. He suckered everybody into the paint. They went with him, and then he would just kick it to an open 3 guy, and he'd make the shot wide open.
Remember, Mike and I were criticizing him. He should go to the basket.
That's it.
Should go to the basket, and then it ended up that strategy worked.
Yeah,
because Carver got hot.
Yeah, but he's getting them wide open threes because everyone's running to him in the paint, and he's going to kick it to a wide open 3. He's got 4-3 guys all over the place.
Right. See, the Knicks should have just let him get the 2.
Let him take the 2s. It's harder to come back instead of when they're making 3s every shot.
Yeah, a lot of times they play hard but not smart. A lot of times they'll double a guy and leave Carver open. That's not the guy you want to leave open.
Plus, down the stretch, I would make him beat me on the foul line. He does have,
man. He's shaky.
He doesn't have great confidence in his form. He even said he changed his form this year.
Right.
We know how dynamic he is and how great he is. The one thing is he might not do 80% down the stretch on the foul line. And so send him to the foul line late in these games. Foul him because he's going to dunk it on you. He's going to score over you. He's going to kick it for a 3. Put him on the line. He doesn't love being on the line in those spots.
And you know why? He made a statement that he wants to be an 80% free throw shooter. So I knew from that he doesn't have confidence.
No.
Because you want to be 100% free throw shooter.
And he's looking for 80. And he even admitted that he changed his form this year again. He had Kyle Korver work with him on his free throw shooting.
Right. But historically, he's been shaky. When he goes to the line, he'll make one, miss one. And that, like you alluded to that game, he missed 2 straight.
Right at the end of the game, he missed. He's making 3s, but he misses that. He's not afraid to pull the trigger on that 3, but he doesn't like standing on that foul line.
Oh, yeah. He feels the pressure.
It really something. So that's why, listen, he's so hard to play. I mean, listen, he's so good. I me's amazing.
Size, man.
Oh, the
6'8",
size.
260.
That's it. His ability to do, and his passing is brilliant, isn't it? I mean, he's
he's always had it. And his quickness. The guy, remember Jack? He knocked him away like a fly. And finished with the layup, Jack.
He can just move. He's so strong. He really, he's like a Gus Johnson, like someone like that, but can pass and can handle. And he really is a wonderful passer. He really is.
Yeah, he's got the great court vision. He's unselfish.
Not a great shooter, though. Not a prolific shooter.
He's a scorer. He's not a shooter.
Yeah, he is. You can tell that. But the effort he gives is remarkable in these games, isn't it? I mean, that's the one thing. I could tell watching that game, he was getting angrier and angrier. You knew in the fourth quarter you were going to hear from him. Yeah. They lost that game in the third quarter, though, because they should have never let him get back in the third quarter.
Right. James was disinterested. Wade looked like he should retire. And all of a sudden, Wade is getting key rebounds. James is running the show, and, we blow that game.
Were you surprised that Phil didn't connect better? You knew Phil all these years. You both come up under the great Red Holtzman. You both learned the game the same way. Were you surprised he didn't connect better this time around with everything? It just seemed like he never seemed to get his pace here or get his connection here with everything.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was surprised he never had a one-on-one with me.
That's why I was going to ask you next. Did he ever bring you into the thing here with he knows you as being the guy, one of the guys who was the kingpins of his great teams that he worshipped. And here you are, right 10 feet away. I wondered how much he utilized you.
He never sat down to me and said, Clyde, what do you think? What has been the problem here? What's going on? He never did.
That shocks me. Considering who you were in that relationship and who he was, that shocks me because he always harkens back to his Knick days and the Red Holtzman days. You guys were brought up the same way by the same man under the same kind of teams, known to be very smart teams, unselfish teams. I mean, that was the hallmark of your great teams.
And I think that's what caused his demise, his lack of communication.
Interesting.
With the players, with the press.
And Red was a good communicator, right?
Yeah.
Holtzman. Yeah. He was good at telling you what was going on, right?
Look at Melo. They say the thing, Melo's got to go say something with the press that Phil said and try to defend that, and Phil wasn't saying anything. So that part I didn't really like. The pressure he was putting on the players, never communicating.
It has surprised me through the years that your sitting there courtside and such a part of the Garden and Knick family that none of these guys come and talk to you about basketball. Now, Riley maybe had a rivalry with you. I know that might be the case with him. You know, he was a Laker. You were the star player. He wasn't. Maybe that was it. But you've been an untapped resource here for a long time with this stuff. And even Phil, who comes from your team, didn't even go seek you out.
Right. He invited Willis and I to the training camp preseason, but we didn't really sit down one-on-one and try to evaluate what has been going on all these different years. So, other than that, he gave me my respect. He talked to me, did things. So, but, I was disappointed it didn't work out for him.
Yeah, I was surprised. I really, that surprised me how the whole thing unfolded. So right now you'd say you like what you see with Hornacek and you like what you see from this team right now.
Yeah, I'm very confident that they're on the right track. They're only going to get better, so.
Has the young point guard, has Frank come and sought you out and asked you any questions about anything about the league or anything about your experiences or anything?
Yeah, we're going to get together. I mean,
because you can help him a lot. He's got your side. Not that he's going to be you offensively. I don't think he is, because people don't realize how great an offensive. You came in as a defensive player with a defensive reputation and became a tremendous offensive player.
Right. I worked well, I could shoot, but I was nervous when I first came in. So I really just focused on defense.
You didn't look to score that much early when you came in. You really didn't. But then you became a great clutch shooter and a great fourth quarter shooter and a big scorer.
Yeah. Well, I had to. When the team was very selfish when I came in. When I bring the ball up the court, that was it. I didn't see it anymore. Barnett was shooting. So I said, man, let me just focus on defense. Then when Holtzman came in, he came in with the concept of defense, team ball, and that's when everything turned for us.
We're talking with the legendary Walt Frazier about the Knicks and about things, but I want to go back a minute because of all the great matchups, whether it's the Lakers and you having one of the greatest games of all time in Game 7 when you won the championship, I mean, as good a game as anybody's ever had in the 7th game, and that great matchup against those Laker teams, or the Celtics, the matchup I loved the best was the Bullets when Earl was in Baltimore, because it was a player on a player in all 5 matchups. Everything, whether it was Marin and Bradley, DeBusschere and Gus Johnson, Willis and Unseld, you and Monroe, the 2 guards, Barnett, and whether it was Lockery or Archie Clark or whoever it was, those 5-on-5s were those Bullet matchups were 2 teams that were perfectly matched up against each other.
Yeah,
those were my favorite games, and you guys played some great games.
Yeah, it was our favorite too. Like when I talked to Earl, I could see in his eyes how he relished the competition that we had, and I feel the same way.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Bradley and Marin were killing each other. They would run all over the place and yell at each other and everything.
And they were jealous of us because we were in New York. We had everything, all the. So those guys would always say, Earl, guard can't guard Earl,
Right.
So, and then, in those days, we used to live right across the street at the Holiday Inn. So when you go to the game, all these kids are around, So when I'm going to the game, these kids, Frazier, let me carry your bag, So then we get to the game, Earl's going to get 50 on you tonight.
Earl was amazing in those days, wasn't he? What a whirling dervish with the ball. He was amazing with the ball.
Holtzman used to tell me when I come out of the locker room, Clyde, forget about offense.
Just slow him down.
Right, just try to stop Earl, right?
Keeping him in front of you was hard, right? He'd go back and forth and back with the ball.
They wanted him to put up 30 shots because Unseld never shot.
Right.
So they wanted Earl to put the ball up, man. It was when he used to get the ball, the whole arena was standing when he come down, man.
Those matchups, and Gus Johnson, who was a great player. What a jumper and scorer. Great, wonderful teams. I mean, those were my favorites because it just seemed like you guys, every game was going to wind up 89-88 somebody. It was that kind of matchup. Those were great series.
We thought we could beat them because we had defense.
Yep.
So we knew if we stayed close down the stretch, we'd find a way to pull it out.
And of course, your great series with the Lakers and your classic 7th game, which is, as we said, when they talk about some of these 7th games, LeBron in some of these 7th games, or some of the stuff, your 7th game that day was as good. Now, it was a rout, so no one needed to see the last couple of minutes of the game, but that was as good a game as anybody's ever had in the 7th game.
Yeah, I know, and I never expected it. This time when I left the locker room, Holtzman told me, hey, Clyde, hit the open man.
That's what
That's what he told me, right?
Well, you were on that night.
I was the open man.
You were it. I mean, 36 points and 17 assists is an incredible game.
Yeah, I know. It was right on time, man. But Willis had provided the inspiration, and I provided the devastation.
Can you explain Chamberlain in Game 6, he gets 45 points and 28 rebounds. Why does that not happen in Game 7?
It was destiny.
You know,
it was our destiny.
Can you figure that guy out?
If we played them 10 more games, we would not have won. But for that one night, everything came. Willis came out, makes his first 2 shots.
That's it. And it just seemed to mesmerize them.
It did. And the crowd was vociferous the whole game. And then we started to believe. After Willis made the first 2 shots, the die was cast.
After Game 6, when they win Game 6 going away, after you guys beat him in Game 5 when Willis got hurt, and Chamberlain was killing Reed early in that game, and then you guys put that little team around him, and he never got the ball.
Right.
He never touched the ball.
They seemed out of sorts.
They just never seemed to handle that little lineup. But then Game 6, they put Nate Bowman on him. He kills him. He goes crazy. You're coming back for Game 7. You got to think, how are we going to deal with him? He got 45 points and 28 rebounds in Game 6.
That's why we was begging Willis. Just give us 2 minutes, man. 3 minutes. You know, anything you could give us. But that shows you how courageous he was. The man could barely walk.
It was.
And he came out.
But it was your night from the start. You know that? I mean, I'm sure, because for you didn't like to take a million shots. I mean, you'd score without taking a million shots, too. I remember the other game was the Christmas night game when you and Earl went crazy at the end of the game and scored like the last 18 points of the game. Remember that game against the Bucks?
Oh,
on
yeah,
that
the
Christmas
greatest
night?
comeback. Yeah,
that was unbelievable. It was you and Monroe making every shot down the stretch. You guys scored like 18 points in a row at the end of the game to win the game.
Some of the games this year have been like that with that hoopla from the fans.
Yeah, it's been. You know what? It's been fun again, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the building's energized, which has got to make it more fun for you to watch the games when the place is going crazy. Yeah. They've really taken to this team a little bit right now, the fans.
Yeah, and everywhere I go in places. Oh, Clyde, it's all right. You don't have to pay. Okay, it's all right. People like the old days.
They've been that way for 40 years with you. I mean, we know that.
The hoopla's back. The expectation, the excitement. So,
do you think is Hardaway a good enough second scorer, or do they need a guy who's better than him to be the second scorer? Is he solid enough to be the second scorer?
Well, he works on his shot selection. When he's shooting poorly, it's because he's forcing shots. But he's great in transition. Gives the Knicks quickness getting out in transition. So if he works on that, he could be a 20-point scorer. I think right now he's around 16 points a game.
And Frank's got now, I don't know if he's a willing go-to-the-basket guy, or does he just have to get more forceful, or is it okay that he's staying away from going to the basket as much as he is in these games? You and Brini are both telling him, go to the basket, but he's not going to the basket with a lot of confidence yet.
Right. We saw it the other night, and he got a charge in violation, but yes. I like that he really attempted to get in there, because you got to break down the defense. The point guard has to be efficient getting into the paint to break down the defense.
No question.
Right.
But do you see that becoming easier for him? I mean, do you think it's recognition, or is it just having enough confidence to do it?
It's both, combination of both, but they like his IQ for the game. They rave about him, and that's why they think he's going to be a great player. So, but you get back to what we're saying with the Cavaliers without Isaiah Thomas. Like you heard me say, they're going east and west.
Yep.
You see, they were a perimeter team. They don't have a point guard that can break down the defense. So when that happens, they struggle. So it's imperative that the point guard gets into the paint to create havoc and make it easy for his teammates.
Well, listen, nice here to stop over. Give the restaurant one more plug here before you go. I know you got to get over and get to the game. So you got a game tonight against Toronto. Yeah. Not an easy one either. Toronto's a pretty decent club.
Yeah, the Knicks will be seeking revenge.
Yeah, they do. Toronto ran them out of the gym the other night, so they got to turn around on. And Porzingis had a bad game in that game, so they'd be looking to get a little revenge on them tonight. Yeah. They're a good team too.
No, they're 11-5,
yeah,
so
nice
they're
team.
flying under the radar,
Yeah.
but very impressive. Yeah, I hope the fans continue to come out to Clyde's Wine and Dine. Right at 10th Avenue and 37th Street. The food is steaks, chops, chicken, seafood. My favorite is the grilled salmon. We have the guacamole. We have the miniature basketball court in there, half-court basketball court.
Right.
Yeah, so 10,000 square foot venue, 40 state-of-the-art TVs.
There you go.
So an excellent place to catch the Knicks games.
Well, there you go. Well, good to see you. Have a nice Thanksgiving. Thanks for coming over, and we'll see you soon. Thanks very much.
Thank you, man.
Thanks to see you, Clyde.
Best of luck.
Okay. Walt Frazier will be right back.